We've already talked about the terrible state of the economy in today's show, and it's especially hurting young people because new analysis has shown that almost 200,000 people aged 34 and under disappeared from company payroll since the Labour Party won the election last year. I'm joined now by the man who's been crunching the numbers and is about to talk about the generation that Labour forgot, the former senior statistician at the ONS, Jamie Jenkins. Jamie, pleasure to have you on the show. The generation that Labour forgot, young people particularly feeling the pinch. Talk us through the numbers.
Yeah, good afternoon, Martin. So you tend to find actually younger people are more likely to vote Labour than, say, the Conservative Party. So it's kind of a double whammy for them that many of these people may have voted for Labour and they've kind of come off the payroll. So what we've got every month, HMRC work with the ONS and release the figures on the number of people on payrolls across the UK. And overall, across the whole economy, we've seen 123,000 fewer people on payroll now when you compare the latest figures to what we saw before the month before the election. So what that masks, though, is that if we then look at the different age groups, we've actually seen an increase in payroll jobs for people 65 and over, and that might be that people can't afford to retire because of the cost of living crisis that's been going on. But younger people have been decimated. So yeah, 200,000 fewer people on payrolls, and there'll be a couple of factors on this one, and it's not hard to break it down to understand why. So the first one was the jobs tax that came in. This decimated hospitality, Martin. That's the kind of the part of the economy where a lot of young people start off, and that's where the most jobs have been lost. And the other big thing is the national minimum wage. Now, it did have some consequences in terms of what Labour's policy's done there. They increased the minimum wage by about 6.7% for people who were 21 and over, but it was about 16 to 18%. It sounded great at the time for people who were younger than 21. And the consequence of that is that it's increased the double cost of hiring these people. So we are seeing a decimation of these young people, and it comes back to the generation that Labour's forgot.
And Jamie Jenkins, what's really fascinating about that from your analysis, and by the way, it's superb analysis, thank you very much. I need to get you on the show more often. I love data and you're an absolute genius at it. It's everywhere in Britain. Every region has felt the pinch. Nowhere has been spared. And what I find particularly fascinating about it is I was just speaking with one of my colleagues in the break. Young people are finding it so hard to get on the property ladder now because of the shortage of housing, increased immigration, the supply and demand issue. You know, when I started in journalism 25 years ago, Jamie, the salary is basically pound for pound the same now. But house prices have quintupled minimum. Young people, they're feeling the pinch, and a lot of them are starting to think about giving up. Politically, that has an impact because, as you quite correctly pointed out there, Jamie, historically, the Labour Party would like to think these people are nailed-on Labour voters, but that could be changing.
No, totally. We had that big poll out yesterday with looking for like a reform landslide, and yeah, we've seen this jobs losses across the country. Northern Ireland, just outside of Great Britain, obviously part of the United Kingdom, smaller part of the economy is at a slight uptick. But yeah, Wales, where I'm from, and London, where you're broadcasting from, they've had the biggest percentage falls in payroll employment. And they bring it back down to the public purse. You know, people who are watching this are paying taxes. People are looking at the borrowing figures. So if you look at the economy as well, just in terms of wages, we've actually seen that wages have been coming down on the private sector. Again, Labour's job tax is biting there. Employers can't afford the wage rises as much. So they're going up about 4.8%. But if we look at the public sector, where we exclude financial services that were in part of the public sector, their wages are going up much more because of the union deals with the Labour Party, 6.7%. And the important thing there, Martin, is the gap of that 1.9%. If you just multiply that up over a year, that costs the taxpayer £5.5 billion. And you were just talking in the previous segment about farming and the land there. That £5.5 billion is 11 times what the Labour Party hoped to raise from that controversial farming tax. So when you put the numbers in that kind of context, these government policies are having huge consequences on people's jobs, but also the public finances.
Jamie Jenkins, it's absolutely fascinating. It's great analysis. It's real 3D chess, you know, thinking about policy, data, the impacts, the loss of money elsewhere. It's really so well put together. Thank you so much for coming on today and joining us. Stat of the Nation, I believe, is your blog. It's superb. People watching the show, jump on it. Jamie Jenkins, thank you for your time, as ever. Absolutely love that. Great stuff.